Hi, this is Moses Gumadi. Welcome to my channel, The Hebrew Bible. We are in this series, Learn to Read the Hebrew Bible, and this is part 3, where we will learn to read the vowels, recognize the vowels. And why are the vowels important? We have this word here, davar, dalet, bet, resh. If you put the vowels here, this is pronounced as davar, which means word or speech, and this is a noun. But if the vowels are different, this one can be read, this must be read as diber. Earlier it is davar, the ver sound. Here it is ber sound because of the dagesh, diber, which means he spoke in the third person, masculine. If it is daber, then it is second person masculine. We are telling the second person to speak. And therefore, vowels are important, and vowels determine how the words are pronounced, and they have different meanings. Right, so let's look at the vowels. As I said in my first video, the vowels can be simply classified into these 5 sounds: a, e, I, o, u. A, E, I, O, U are the vowels in English, and based on that we can categorize these 5 sounds, a, E, O, U, these sounds, and determine short and long vowels. Okay, so I'm going to use the letter aleph. Aleph is a silent letter, so we only pronounce when there is a vowel. So we pronounce when there is a vowel. This vowel is called patach. And there's just a line underneath the aleph, and we pronounce it as a, short a. And this vowel is kamatz, is a bit longer vowel, it is a. And this is segol by 3 dots, a short e. And tsere, 2 dots, a. 1 dot is chirik. Remember, this ch underlined is like chet. Remember, we looked at the Hebrew letter chet, the 8th letter. Chirik is how it is pronounced. E sound. A long E sound is chirik yod. Yod is the letter, additional letter we have added. Okay, so this is a long E sound. Kamatz katan, o sound, very short o sound. Note that this kamatz katan and kamatz are exactly the same. And by the way, the names that I'm using here, kamatz, you might read in some of the Hebrew textbooks as kametz. I'm using the Israeli notation and the names, which are obviously followed in the land of Israel. They have been standardized, and what you find in the Hebrew textbooks, biblical Hebrew textbooks, is the Tiberian names. It doesn't matter which one are we using, as long as we know how to pronounce those vowels. As long as you look at the symbol and pronounce it rightly, that's fine. It doesn't matter whether you say kametz or kamatz. So this is kamatz katan. It looks exactly like kamatz. There's no difference absolutely whatsoever. In fact, in the typing of it, in the computer typing, there is a different vowel they use, but practically, except for computer comparison, if you do a programming and you compare it, it will show it is a different thing, but for visual purposes, there is no difference whatsoever. And therefore, this o, short o sound, has to be used based on experience and a certain context. So we will talk about this in some other video when we come across it. Okay, but just remember, this kamatz can also be kamatz katan, a short o sound, otherwise it's a long a sound. A long o sound will be cholam. There is a dot on the top left of the alphabet, whatever we might use, this letter. So this would be O. It's a bit longer. O, and this is O. Now this is U, the 3 dots, lined up in a slant 45-degree angle, called kibbutz. This vowel is called kibbutz and pronounced U. And if you want to drag it a little bit longer, this vowel is called shuruk and it's U. And notice that there is a separate letter here, which is a vav, a letter vav. Why have I colored these differently from the rest? Because there is an extra letter, yud, the letter here, and there is a vav letter. And there are more of such which I will show you shortly. So for now, just remember a short and a long a, e, I, o, u. Right. There is another thing called reduced. Reduced are half vowels. They are like short but less than short. So this is khataf patach. Khataf patach is exactly like patach, but there are 2 dots prefixed on the right here. Remember when I said prefixed, we are reading Hebrew from the right to the left, not left to right. And therefore the 2 dots come first and then the patach. The patach is exactly the same as that line. So because the patach is added with these 2 lines, it is called khataf patach. This is a very short sound. Now you could do the same thing for the segol and put 2 dots extra. This is called khataf segol. Is eh sound, very short, reduced eh sound. And you could do this with o sound as well. This is khataf kamatz. So again, it's like you take the kamatz and put in those 2 dots. You actually take kamatz katan, o sound, and put in these 2 dots. It becomes a reduced. So remember that this kamatz is long a, and also short o sound. And if you put a khataf, those 2 dots, also very short o sound. Just remember that. The remaining things are pretty easy to remember. Right. So let's go back quickly. So these are the short, long, and reduced forms of the vowels. These are not all. We have more long vowels, which I will show. So more long vowels are coming up. These are kamatz he. So we add a letter he, it becomes ah. A bit of a h you could pronounce, aspirate it, or you could make it silent. Kamatz he, ah. Now this is tsere yod. Now I'll show you the previous as well. Look at this tsere, 2 dots. If you add a yod, it's tsere yod. That is long. Tsere is long, and tsere yod is also long. Okay. And I marked it in blue because there is an extra letter. In the previous, there is no extra letter. Tsere yod. And the next one is similar to tsere yod. We can take segol, and segol yod is also long, which is a. A. That's the long syllable. Next is cholam vav. Look at the cholam. Cholam has just a dot on the top left corner. Now if you say cholam vav, you add a vav and put the dot on the top of the vav. Then it becomes a cholam vav, which is again a long o sound. So this is o, this is also o. So they both sound the same. Some people make this as a medium and this a long, but other textbooks, they consider the same. Don't worry about the medium. If you start distinguishing between short, medium, and long, it's going to be complicated. So I think this is more a simpler, better approach for all practical purposes to be able to read Hebrew with a decent precision. Okay. And there is another cholam he. So you have this cholam, and you add a he letter, this cholam he, which is also pronounced as a long O sound. So both of these, cholam vav and cholam he, together could be called as cholam male. Cholam male. Don't worry about the names. You can remember the names. And there is a chart coming up. I have a chart in which I have actually summarized all these vowels together. But just remember how to pronounce them. When you need to remember the symbols, and when you look at them, you should recall the sound. That is what is required to be able to read the Hebrew text. Another sound, which I have put it in orange because this is a special sound, it doesn't belong to the rest of the category, which is shava. You can say shava, or you can just ignore there and say shwa. It's one and the same, shwa. What is this shwa? It is a short sound, but shava has got other rules as well. Now the reason why I put here is because segol also is pronounced in the same way. So this is shwa. Shwa sounds very short And another thing to note is that in the shwa, sometimes shwa is silent. Sometimes it must be pronounced as and so I will talk about it in a different video. But for now, you can think that whenever shwa occurs in the front of the first letter, you can pronounce it. But if it occurs in the middle of the letter, then there is a rule that we need to apply. Sometimes it is pronounced as and sometimes it is silent. So that we'll talk about those shava rules later on. So then these are different vowels. You might be wondering, I have too many vowels now. So how do I categorize? Again, the best way to think about it is a, e, o, u. Okay, short and long. Make these two distinctions and make these five. Essentially 5 times 2 is 10 sounds. That's all they are. Okay, any sound can be fit into these 10 sounds. As long as you're able to pronounce those 5 sounds, you should be fine. So the real key is to remember the symbols and put them in one of the 10 boxes. So I have now created a chart, and I will provide the link down below the video. You can access that and print off a page and stick it somewhere, and maybe you want to learn, you can learn. So all the sounding, khataf, patak, kamatse, all of these are sounding. Whether it is reduced, is less than short, and short, long. So I have indicated all of them. And then shwa is sounding, so I put it in a separate box. The remaining sounds are all khataf, segol, sere, segol yod, sere yod. Yod is sometimes also, the letter yod is pronounced as yud as well. So you might hear me saying yud sometimes, so don't worry, yod and yud are the same. Now sound is chirik, and the chirik yud. U is kubutz, shuruk. O is khataf, chamatz, reduced, chamatz katan, cholam vav, cholam he. All of them O sounds. Some are, this is reduced, short, long. So it is self-explanatory chart. I think this chart has all of the vowels that we have discussed so far. Okay. Right. So another short topic. Diphthongs are basically 2 sounds together. If you look at this 2, there is a patach and a yud. Try, I sound, I. Try. Very short, but try. It is a short try. This is a long I. This is I. This is long I. So I'll. Try. I'll. So AI, both are AI sound. One is a bit slightly longer than the other, because this has a kamatz yod, this is patach yod. Now you can say patach yod and put another chirik underneath. The sound will be I, by. And if you do a cholam vav and put a yud, oi, boy. And if you put shuruch and add a yud, then ui. So gui is the sound. And a kamatz, a yud and vav is av sound. Wow, wow, av sound. Okay, so these are diphthongs. Just be aware of them. I will probably create another video with examples of diphthongs in the Bible, but that's for another time. Just be aware of this. This is not difficult, basically. And finally, we have quiescent letters, or quiet, silent letters. When there are no vowels occurring under these, these letters, then they're quiet and they are not pronounced. Of course, unless they occur in one of these diphthongs or one of these vowels. For example, this is not pronounced here. Cholam he, oh. You could slightly aspirate it with a H, but these are called quiescent letters. Aleph, he, vav, and yud. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video on the vowels. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe the video, and also click the bell button, and please forward it to your friends, those who might be interested in learning to speak, or learning to read rather, learning to read the Hebrew Bible. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.